Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's just jump right in. Today, we are unpacking a seriously fascinating piece of source material, the 2026 Sendwin Guide on Browser Isolation and Multi-Account Management. Now, if you spend your days juggling digital identities, this explainer is going to be incredibly relevant to you. We're going to break down exactly how session isolation works, look under the hood of Ghost Browser, and explore exactly where the tech behind digital anonymity is heading next. Picture this. How do you manage 50 or hey, maybe even just 5 different accounts across platforms without triggering bans, flags, or those dreaded sudden account suspensions? It is a massive headache for digital professionals right now. Platforms are getting so much smarter, and simply logging out and logging back in, that just doesn't cut it anymore. Your digital footprint is constantly being tracked. So how exactly do you solve this? Well, the foundational answer to this is session isolation. So what does this actually mean in practice? Imagine having multiple completely isolated browsing contexts happening at the exact same time, all inside a single browser window. In one tab, the cookies, local storage, and cache are completely fenced off from the tab sitting right next to it. No data leaks, no shared site preferences. Literally, one tab doesn't even know the other tab exists. That brings us to Section 1. Meet Ghost Browser Proxy. Ghost Browser is a Chromium-based productivity tool that essentially took this whole idea of session isolation and made it highly visual and accessible using a really clever color-coded system. You might have a blue tab for your personal Gmail, and right next to it, a green tab logged into a client's completely separate workspace. But cookies are only half the battle here. The core formula for success is this: session plus proxy equals full isolation. While a session fences off your cookies and cache, combining that specific session with a proxy assigns it a unique IP address. So now, not only are your cookies separate, but to the website you're visiting, you appear to be connecting from an entirely different geographic location and network. Moving right along to Section 2, setting up your sessions. Setting this up within a tool like Ghost Browser is actually surprisingly straightforward. Step 1, you just open your settings. Step 2, add your proxy details. The guide notes that Ghost Browser supports HTTP, HTTPS, SOCKS 4, and SOCKS 5 protocols. Step 3 is really where the magic happens. You assign that specific proxy to a specific session color or workspace. And finally, Step 4, verify your new location on a site like whatismyip.com, just to make absolutely sure that specific tab is fully isolated. Which leads us to Section 3, real-world use cases. This tech isn't just for people trying to hide. It's a massive productivity multiplier for entirely legitimate everyday workflows. Social media managers use this to keep dozens of client accounts active simultaneously without platforms cross-linking them. Digital marketers running Facebook or Google ads use proxied sessions to make sure their ad accounts aren't linked and subsequently mass banned. QA developers use it to simulate how their web apps look to users in entirely different countries without needing separate testing servers. Heck, even everyday shoppers use it for price comparison because airlines and hotels, they constantly change pricing based on your region. But here is where the guide introduces a pretty massive reality check. Is Ghost Browser actually enough? Is isolating your cookies and changing your IP address truly sufficient to stay hidden from today's incredibly sophisticated tracking algorithms? Let's dig into that in Section 4, the fingerprinting flaw. The short answer? No. Think of IP isolation as putting on a different mask. You look different from a distance, sure, but fingerprint isolation? That deals with your actual underlying facial structure. Websites don't just look at your IP anymore. They look at your canvas fingerprints, WebGL hashes, the specific audio context of your device, your screen resolution, and even the unique combination of fonts you happen to have installed. And here is the fatal flaw presented in the source material. Ghost Browser sessions all share the exact same hardware fingerprint. Yes, your tabs have different cookies, and yes, they have different IPs, but your machine's underlying facial structure remains identical. Sophisticated platforms like Facebook, Amazon, and Google use this fingerprint data extensively. They will detect that multiple accounts are being operated from the exact same browser and link them together, and that leads directly to those bans we talked about earlier. Beyond the fingerprinting issue, there's a serious hardware limitation to consider. Running just 10 to 20 isolated sessions in Ghost Browser will quickly eat up 4 to 8 gigabytes of RAM. Because each session runs within the same Chromium process, the resource consumption is massive. It makes it really tough to scale if you're a serious multi-account manager. The guide also points out a few other critical limitations. Ghost Browser is desktop only, which means your data is trapped on the physical machine where it's installed.
There's no built-in session sharing for Teams. You can't just securely hand off an active session to a coworker. And crucially, there is absolutely no WebRTC leak protection. WebRTC is a tech that can bypass your proxy and expose your real underlying IP address, which kind of completely defeats the purpose of the isolation in the first place. So what are the other options? Section 5. Modern browser alternatives. If you need more robust protection, the market landscape is definitely shifting. While Ghost Browser offers cookie isolation and proxy support, it lacks fingerprint isolation, WebRTC protection, and cross-device access. Meanwhile, anti-detect browsers and cloud browsers like Send.Win check all of those boxes. They offer full fingerprint spoofing and built-in protection against those dangerous WebRTC leaks, often without even needing a desktop installation. The guide specifically highlights 4 modern alternatives to consider, really based on what you need. Send.Win is categorized as the top choice for cloud simplicity. No installation required, it has built-in proxies, and it's highly collaborative. Then you've got multi-login, which is presented as the premium enterprise option with the most mature fingerprinting tech out there. GoLogin offers a really solid, affordable middle ground balance. And finally, Dolphin Ante is specifically tailored for affiliate marketers who require built-in automation workflows.
All right, Section 6, how to migrate. If you are ready to make the switch, here is your quick 5-step roadmap. First, export your bookmarks from your current browser. Second, meticulously list all your accounts and their corresponding proxy configurations. Third, set up your profiles in your new chosen platform, whether that's an anti-detect browser or a cloud solution. Fourth, re-authenticate your logins in these new, secure environments. And fifth, always verify your isolation before starting work by checking your IP and fingerprint data.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to look at your own setup. Are you just masking your IP, or are you fully isolating your digital identity? Because as the source material makes perfectly clear, in today's digital landscape, a simple proxy and separate cookies just aren't enough to hide your underlying digital fingerprint anymore. It's time to start thinking about the facial structure beneath the mask. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and keep those digital identities safe out there.